Royal Rebounds TV with Calvin and Barry. Just two crazy fans of the Sacramento Kings, and they sharing their opinion. So be sure that you subscribe. It's for the fans, by the fans. Whether you chilling on the couch or wilding in the stands. For laid back conversations about the Kings, subscribe here. Staying down until we come up thinking this gonna be our year. We're here drinking beer, talking about the Kings. Be sure you subscribe so you can hear that bell ring. Yeah.
What's up, Kings fans? Welcome back to Royal Rebounds, the Sacramento Kings YouTube channel for fans, by fans. The Kings win tonight. They beat the Toronto Raptors in Toronto, 124-123. De'Aaron Fox plays great, dude. He has a great game tonight, 27 points, 10 assists in a win. This is a bounce-back win after losing just last night. And Calvin, we got a special guest here on the show.
The Kings won, yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah, the Kings won, yeah. The Sacramento Kings, oh, yeah, the Kings won, yeah. Fox is so fast. Sabonis is so strong, yeah. Coach Mike is so smart, yeah. They're on the playoff bound, yeah.
Well, you heard it there. They're making the playoffs. Calvin, how you doing, bud?
I'm doing great, man. I got my chain on. Island Boys are back. Kings win.
It feels great. I'm popping it open and beer here. The chain looks good on you, man. The chain looks really good on you. Also, oh, I forgot, dude. We got to light the beam.
Light the beam! Woo!
Yes, sir. Terence,
Let's go, man.
The beam is lit.
Oh, I love that. The beam is lit. Shout out to everybody here in the chat.
Beam
Bench,
is lit.
Matthew, Lee. We got the bouncer here. Progressive G, Alfie Man, Brian, Jeff, Tito. What's up, Callum? Good to see you. Dylan, welcome in, everybody. PK, and I'm sure Ethan is watching as well. So shout out to everybody that's watching. Neil, it's good to see you guys. And hey, we got some good news. Calvin, the Kings finally win a game. I've been waiting for a win. I mean, it's been almost a week. I wanted to make sure the beam was still working properly. But hey, the Kings get a win, and they look to kind of even out this road trip here. They're 2-3 now. The next game is on Friday in Detroit. They have a chance to even it out, 3-3 on this really tough Eastern Conference road trip, and then they return home to play the Charlotte Hornets, who just went to overtime tonight and allowed a ton of points. So Calvin, give me your first thoughts on the game tonight.
Just a really good grinded out win. You know, you mentioned it's been a long, tough road trip. The Kings are dealing with a bunch of injuries now. De'Aaron Fox hasn't been fully healthy for this trip. Kevin Huerter didn't play tonight. They've missed Alex Len. Just when things started to look really bad, you're coming off two terrible blowout losses in a row. People are starting to question if, you know, this team really has what it takes to maybe break that playoff drought. Do they need to start making moves? All this stuff. Here we are today. They just beat a good Toronto team, even though they're, you know, on the outside looking in right now, the playoff standings in a very crowded Eastern Conference. This is a good team, a really good defensive team. They've got some great individual players, and the Kings were able to gut out a tough win. And now, as you mentioned, have a chance to finish this road trip at 500 before going back home. And they've won their 15th game of the season. I mean, we're closing in on the halfway mark of what they won for the entire year last year, and we're 27 games in, right? So I think you have to feel really good right now if you're the Kings. Physical, tough game, but you made enough plays to win. Even though they didn't get a ton of stops in this game, the offense finally returned, and they looked like the old Sacramento Kings.
Yeah, they are. Callum says, we aren't the same old Kings. Dude, that's true, man. That's 100% true. And I kind of want to echo what Sass is saying here. Was waiting for Fox to return back to all-star form, and he did that tonight. You know, I had a great day today. I had fun watching this game, other than the fact that I was arguing with a casual about who was better, Fred VanVleet or De'Aaron Fox, the whole effing game. So shout out to Ethan, always with the De'Aaron Fox hate, and you know I'm there to protect my guy, and De'Aaron Fox.
To give Ethan a little bit of credit, Fred VanVleet had a monster game today, so he is a great player as well. However, I agree. Fox is back. I got the jersey on today to support, and this is what the Kings need if they're going to be, a playoff team, not a play-in team. They're going to need Fox and Sabonis to play at all-star levels.
And Ethan's a casual too. I just want to throw that out there. But hey, what's up, guys? Welcome in, everybody. Bobby V is in the house tonight. Derek is here. Charles, Fred. What's up, guys? What's up? Fred can confirm the beam is lit. Derek wants the song. He's a little late tonight. Calvin, should we play him the song? Let's play him the song.
Play the fight song.
The Kings won, yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah, the Kings won, yeah. The Sacramento Kings, oh, yeah, the Kings won, yeah. Fox is so fast. Sabonis is so strong, yeah. Coach Mike is so smart, yeah. They are the playoff bound, yeah.
There you go, Derek. Just for you, buddy. I hope you enjoy it. All right, let's dive here into the game tonight. First off, let's look here at the box score. So what you're looking at on the top of your screen, those big old numbers there, they look pretty good, right? 124 to 123. The Kings get the victory in Toronto, and they improved to 15-12. They are now back to 3 games over 500. Domantas Sabonis, huge game tonight, 21 points and 20 rebounds. That's right, a 20-20 game in 40 minutes of action. He also had 7 assists in this game. And as always, Calvin, the dude has been extremely efficient this year. 10 of 13 from the field. 12 points, 8 rebounds, and 3 assists from Harrison Barnes in 36 minutes. Only 8 shot attempts for him tonight, but he did make 4 of them and missed all 4 of his 3-point attempts. 10 points for Keegan Murray tonight, 4 rebounds in 32 minutes, 27 points, 6 rebounds, and 10 assists in 41 minutes for De'Aaron Fox. I think it's official. He's back. He's back and looking healthy. 19 points for Terence Davis in 25 minutes. He did start over the injured Kevin Huerter tonight. We'll see what happens with Kevin. Maybe he'll be available to play on Friday. I do hope so. But great output by Terence Davis. And the dude has definitely bounced back in his couple games, returning from that lower back soreness. 5 points off the bench for Trey Lyles, 2 for Metu, 2 for Holmes, 2 for Davion Mitchell, and 24 huge points for Malik Monk in 33 minutes, including 5 of 10 from 3-point range and 3 assists, 3 rebounds for him as well. As far as the Toronto Raptors go, 19 points for Siakam, 27, 7 and 10 for Barnes, 39 points for Fred VanVleet, and 11 points for Gary Trent Jr. Not much bench scoring for the Raptors tonight, but a big performance by all of their starters, for the starters in double figures. And like I said, 39 big points for Fred VanVleet. He had a great game tonight, but it was not enough for them to get the victory. Calvin, it's funny. I'm arguing with Ethan the whole time, and I swear you're just sitting there enjoying your beer, laughing, having a good time, being yourself. And, I'm hearing everything, dude, because we know that Ethan is a De'Aaron Fox hater, and he just continues to hate Fox. It doesn't matter what, dude. If De'Aaron Fox had 60 points in this game, Ethan would have been like, oh, he could have had 70, but didn't do it, right? He's the ultimate De'Aaron Fox hater. And, I love Ethan. This is not a shot at Ethan, but I know there's a lot of Kings fans out there and just a lot of people in general that are really down on De'Aaron Fox. So I'm going to kind of refer to them all as Ethans during this episode and just kind of give, kind of how my thought process is going in terms of this, right? So I'm arguing with Ethan, and he's saying, oh, Fred VanVleet is a better point guard than De'Aaron Fox because he's a more rounded. He passes the ball more, blah, 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 all this. Well, tonight is a perfect example of not that, right? 39 points for Fred VanVleet, but only 5 assists. De'Aaron Fox seems to be the well-rounded guy tonight. 27 points and 10 assists. He's passing the rock around. He's doing everything he needs to do, and most importantly, getting the victory and also hitting 4 threes tonight, Calvin. He shot 4 of 8 from 3-point range, 50% from 3-point range, which is absolutely great. That's what we needed out of De'Aaron Fox. But hey, I'm talking a lot here, so I'm going to pass the mic to you, Calvin. What stood out most to you in the box score tonight?
I think it's just the shooting, right? I mean, we've been talking so much about how the Kings shooting has disappeared, evaporated, live by the 3, die by the 3, all of that. And then you combine that with the fact that they've played some of the NBA's best defenses, and they haven't been able to open up the lid on any of those defenses because they haven't hit outside shots. And today they did, 37% from three. Malik Monk hit a bunch of threes. As you mentioned, De'Aaron Fox shot 50% from three. Terence Davis, I think, had 5 threes in this game. And shout out to Mike Brown for choosing Terence Davis to be the guy to start in place of Kevin Huerter in Toronto, where he used to play one second-team all-rookie. So this was definitely a good choice, right? Revenge game, a get-back game, a welcome-home game, all of that stuff. Players usually seem to respond in those moments, and Terence Davis did. That was the deciding factor, I think, for me in this game. The Kings still turned the ball over a lot, but they were able to get out and run and get some easy transition fast break points, which they haven't done in any of the last few games. And then Toronto stayed true to what they do, right? We knew they weren't going to turn the ball over a lot. Only 7 turnovers in this game. We knew they were going to pound the paint, 66 points in the paint. Best way to combat that is to hit a bunch of threes, and that's what the Kings did in this game.
Yeah, you weren't kidding. They really bounced back in this game. 48% from the field for the Kings, 37% from three-point range. And hey, Calvin, they finally made some free throws. This is something we've been knocking on them over the past week, as they've missed a ton of free throws. 17 of 20 tonight, 85%. They out-rebounded the Raptors, 50 total rebounds for the Kings tonight. They out-assisted the Raptors. We got back up over that dreaded 21-22 number. They're at 29 assists tonight, and that ends up in a victory for the Kings. 15 total turnovers I thought was a little too many. Only 7 for the Raptors. The Kings definitely need to work on that a little bit. But Calvin, when we were watching the game today, they showed a stat on the screen that was like, when the Kings make, I believe it was over 13 threes a game. I think they were like 10-4 or something like that, or 10-2. And then when they make less,
11
what is it?
4, I think. Well, this was their 11th win, making over 13 threes.
Yeah.
So.
And then when they make under 13 threes, the record is horrible.
Like 4 and 8 or something.
Yeah, that seems to be the metric. So we're definitely going to have to keep track of that here on the show. When the Kings make over 13 threes, they seem to be a much better basketball team. So just happy to get the win here, Calvin. Obviously, there's always things you can look at in every single game, ways to clean things up. You know, this game was a little too close for comfort. The Kings gave up 31 points in the first quarter and did get down again, only by 8 in this game. But we've seen kind of a pattern of that, of the Kings getting down in the first quarter in these past couple losses. They were able to get over that today and actually get a win. So that just goes to show they are improving. So I like that a lot. Shout out to Pika House here, and also Calvin, one of my favorite names that I've ever seen here in the chat, Pope Chicle. Great name. Sabonis is the best player on this team. Calvin, this is an endless debate. You have any interest in starting this debate again, or is it water under the bridge for you?
Well, I think at the end of the day, it's water under the bridge because, again, you need both these guys in order to be a playoff team, right? They both have to play at really, really high levels, star levels, all-star. Sabonis has been the best player on this team all season long. He's been the most consistent. They do so much through him. The Kings rely on him for so many things. Not to say that they don't rely on De'Aaron Fox either, but I mean, it really is like a Batman and Robin type deal right now. De'Aaron Fox's clutch numbers are right up there at the top of any player in the NBA. They have been all season long. He was clutch again for them tonight. When he hasn't been hampered by an illness or a foot injury, he's put up ridiculously good numbers as well. So I do think that Sabonis he's been the difference maker to take this team to another level. But they still don't get to the ultimate goal, which is the playoffs, without both of them playing really, really well.
Good point. We need the discussion of who's the better player, right? Because if they're both playing that good to where we can't decipher who's the best player, this is honestly going to be the best for the team. Jeff, here's a look here at points per quarter. The Kings had only 23 in the first quarter as opposed to 31 for the Raptors, 36 in the second for the Kings, 31 for the Raptors, 29 in the third, 32 for the Raptors, and then they closed out that fourth quarter, 36 points for the Kings, and the Raptors only had 29. Shout out to Ryder here in the chat. Fox refused to wear a Band-Aid. Oh, man, that's funny. That is Funny. Calvin, hold on. I lost something I was talking about here. Oh, here we go. Let's talk a little bit about Mike Brown. Before we jump into players and all that stuff, we saw a very animated Mike Brown. And to quote Ethan, I saw more fight out of Mike Brown than I've seen out of De'Aaron Fox all season long. Not that I agree with that, but it was an entertaining statement. But what were your thoughts on the whole Mike Brown situation? Yes, he did get ejected in this game, and it actually lit a fire underneath the Kings, and the Kings ended up getting the victory. So give me your thoughts on Mike Brown and what happened today.
Well, I mean, generally speaking, I'm never – technicals hurt teams, right? It doesn't matter whether a player or a coach gets them. However, I will say this. There are certain moments where, as a player, if your head coach all of a sudden is so fired up because they're backing you and they're going out the refs and they're doing the dirty work for you so that you don't have to say anything to the officials, that does make a difference mentally, I think, in certain situations. And a perfect example of that is last night's game between the Golden State Warriors and the Milwaukee Bucks. I believe Golden State ended up with 6 total technical fouls in that game. Steve Kerr did get at least one of them. I don't know if he ended up with 2. I don't think he got 2, but they had just about a technical foul for every player that played meaningful minutes in that game. And they got blown the fuck out. So that's the difference to me. I think that if a coach does something so direct and in the heat of the moment for that one instance, it can really motivate players. Whereas if the players are the one that are complaining nonstop, they're always in the official's ear, they get a technical. Now the coach feels like he has to step up and defend them to kind of take a little bit of the attention off of his guys. That's when things start to spiral out of control, in my personal opinion. Now, the Warriors were already losing bad before any of that stuff happened. Different situation tonight in Toronto. But I think that Mike Brown is a guy that clearly guys want to play for, and not to say that Steve Kerr isn't. But that's the difference between coaching a young and upcoming team and a team that is established and has been to the finals so many times and has all these big-time stars. That's the type of moment that can rally the troops, you know? While I don't advocate for things like that on a regular basis, I think that Mike Brown definitely has the attention and the respect of the guys in that locker room, and it showed after that play tonight.
Yeah, shout out to the Golden State Warriors, the 3rd best team in California. They lost today to the Pacers, so a little shout out to the Warriors. And unfortunately, I don't know if many of you were watching that game, Steph Curry did injure his shoulder, so never wish that on anybody. So that's really unfortunate. Hopefully he can come back. It looked like a really, really weird, interesting shoulder injury. So prayers up for Steph Curry, that's for sure. Shout out to Jesus here. Yeah, Warriors lost to the Pacers. They did. Tom, good to see you, Tom, and Lane here. Tom says, great win. Sabonis is a monster. If he could get a call, he would be unstoppable. Yeah, I feel the same way, and I'm sure Mike Brown feels the same way as well. We saw him get ejected, like we said, in the game. And honestly, Calvin, I was happy to see that, because we've been talking about over and over again how we just feel the referees have just abused the Sacramento Kings this season. The refereeing has been so bad. And, it gets to a point where it's like, you got to stand up and say something, dude. I hope Mike Brown says something in his post-game press conference. I hope he gets fined for calling out the referees, because they've been trash all year, dude, and they've really, really been hurting this Kings team. So hopefully this could be a turning point. Hopefully this will have people saying, hey, maybe every foul is not on the Sacramento Kings. Maybe the Kings should get some calls. I'm just tired of all the BS. So I'm happy that Mike Brown stood up for the players tonight. Yes, it cost him a little bit of money. Yes, a couple of free throws, for the Raptors due to the technicals. But I loved it, dude. Coaches that stand up for their players, they have all my respect. And that's why players play hard for those types of coaches.
Yep, well said.
Pika House is here. Shout out to Pika House. All right, Calvin. So, we haven't looked at the timeline yet. We don't know what's happening on Twitter and Instagram, but we know that they do have that defensive player of the game chain that they've been passing around now. So, Calvin, I know you got one on right now. Is the second, because this would be the second official, right? Because they haven't won a couple games since they gave the last one to Sabonis. Are you giving this award to Sabonis? Who do you think gets the defensive player of the game chain today?
It's a tough call. Giving up 123 points, I don't think anybody should really get the defensive player of the game chain. But in the fourth quarter, there were some big stops made, and Sabonis and Fox both had a couple. I thought Terence Davis played some good individual defense. I think there's a variety of players that you could give this to. It's usually not a clear-cut answer and somewhat of a popularity contest when you do stuff like this. I think you're more worried on just the team win. And again, the defense was certainly not stellar from a total game perspective, giving up 123 points and 66 points in the paint again. So I don't think that there's it's not an easy answer is what I'm trying to say, I guess.
Yeah, the tough thing about the chain is you can't split it up, right? You can't cut it in half and give one to Fox and one to Sabonis, because then it's not a chain anymore. Maybe there's a team chain award tonight. They did give up 123, but this was a bounce back game. And honestly, they survived huge outpouring, offensive outpouring from multiple
Sabonis,
players.
man, you happy?
From multiple players on this Raptors team, including Fred VanVleet and his 39 points and a lot of really, really good performances. So maybe they'll spread that around. But, man, it just feels good to get another win. It really does. The Kings are now 15-12. We can look here at the standings. They've moved back up the list here, and they're on top of the Clippers now at 15-12, which puts them at the 6th seed and out of that play-in tournament. So, a couple more wins here, and Calvin's shaving his head.
It's going to take more than a couple, but they're well on their way.
All right, let's talk a little bit about Terence Davis. Obviously, the dude started tonight, 5 of 12 from three-point range, 7 of 14 from the field, 19 points, started in place of the injured Kevin Huerter. What were your thoughts on Terence Davis tonight?
Well, he just gave them a spark offensively that they have been missing sorely for the past, 3 or 4 games, and it starts with outside shooting. He didn't shoot as well as some of the other Kings did from 3 in this game, but he made a few threes early. Again, it opens the floor up, gives spacing for Fox to attack, lets them play inside out with Sabonis. The Kings are, for good reason, because they attempt so many threes. I think they're still in the top 5 in three-point field goals attempted per game. When you have those types of numbers, it's pretty imperative that you make a decent amount of those shots in order to have a good shot at winning, unless you've got a top 5 defense, which we know that the Kings don't have.
Yeah, I'm just happy to get a win, dude. Honestly, I could talk about all these players, what I like, what I dislike, but it's the results that really matter, right? It's that green W next to the Kings on the schedule that I really care about. It just feels good to get back in the win column. Like I've been saying this whole week, right? This road trip is so tough. What did we break down the numbers last night? We played like the number 2 ranked defensive team in the NBA, the number 2, the number 4th, like the 11th. A lot of really, really good defenses, and the Kings have struggled. We saw them, fail to score 100 points in one of these games against the Knicks, and they only scored 103 last night against the Sixers. So it's good to see them kind of get back on pace offensively. Be able to put up 120 plus tonight is definitely good. And I think that Terence Davis was a big part of that. I like his defense. I like his three-point shooting. I thought he did a great job filling in for Kevin Huerter. Like I said, I hope Kevin's back and available on Friday, but I thought Terence Davis did a great job filling in, and he did all that in only 25 minutes of action. So I thought that was absolutely huge for the Sacramento Kings tonight. Any thoughts on Keegan Murray? 4 of 12 from the field, 2 of 8 from three-point range, only 10 points tonight, 4 rebounds. Ethan thinks this guy is an all-star before De'Aaron Fox, but I want to hear what you think, Calvin. Keegan Murray, he's been hot, he's been cold this year, but he seems to be kind of figuring out what his floor is at. Seems to be, 8 to 10 points we can at least expect, and then obviously he has like some bigger outpourings. But what are your thoughts on Keegan Murray?
This is another tough matchup for him. The Raptors are a really good defensive team. They've got a lot of length and very skilled defenders at the wing position, Scotty Barnes, Pascal Siakam, so not the greatest matchup for him. But again, if he's able to provide them with double-digit scoring every night, hit a couple of threes, and play good help defense, that's all they need out of him right now. It would be great if he was the Rookie of the Year this year. The Kings would be in a better spot than they are now. But that's not the case, at least as we stand today. I still think his role in this team is to come and play good defense, be a really solid all-around shooter, and take advantage of open opportunities within the offense, because he's not going to be one of the go-to guys on this team. As long as he's doing those things, the Kings are going to be in a good spot most nights. And some nights he'll have great shooting performances where he hits 5 or even more threes, and then you're probably going to run away with most of those games.
Yeah, very true. Very true. Hey, shout out to everybody that's just joining in now. Welcome to Royal Rebounds. If you've never been here before, we do post games live after every single Kings game. We'd appreciate it if you'd hit up that like button. We're not professionals. We're just fun. We're fans. We're having fun, just like you guys. So we get paid in likes. So please make sure you smash up that like button, hit that subscribe button, and hit that little notification cowbell. That notification cowbell, Calvin.
I'm telling you, fellas, you're going to want that cowbell.
If you want to get notified every time we put out a new video. And also, please go ahead and share this channel with all your favorite Kings fans. We're just here having fun, and we really like to grow this channel, so we appreciate all your support. Calvin, can we get some cowbell?
Guess what? I got a fever. And the only prescription is more cowbell.
Calvin, we need some cowbell.
More cowbell?
More cowbell. C-A-L cowbell. Jeremiah, good to see you in here. Look over there, good to see you. Yeah, I heard Marvin Bagley got injured today. I don't know if that's true. I did see him in the box score, but we do play them on Friday, so definitely interesting. And yeah, Dennis, it is a Coors Light kind of night or afternoon. It's about 5 o'clock here. But great day. Hopefully, Calvin, do I have any paint on me? I hope I don't have any paint on my face. I've been painting all day. So, lucky me, I probably have paint all over my face, all in my hair while we're doing this stream. But that's okay, man. If I got to have paint on my face for the Kings to get a victory, dude, I'll paint my face every single day. I really, really don't care. Let's talk about Malik Monk. Like I said, one of my favorite players now on this Kings roster. I was ecstatic when I heard they signed him this offseason. I honestly wanted the Kings to draft him because they had 2 draft picks. I believe it was 5 and 10 when Fox was drafted. I really wanted them to take Malik Monk with that 2nd pick. Didn't end up happening. But hey, we're 6 years later, and he's finally here on the team. And Calvin, also good news. I just got an email from Fanatics. They finally shipped out my Kings jersey. So, hey, it's probably 3, 4, 5 weeks away, but it's shipping. It's on the boat. Hopefully, it'll be here soon, and you guys will see me rocking my brand new silver Kings jersey. It's got the beams on both sides. It's number 0 on the front, which is how many shots I missed during a game, and then it's got Monk on the back. So, I'm definitely very, very excited for that. But 33 minutes for him tonight, 24 points, 3 rebounds, 3 assists, 5 of 10 from 3-point range. Calvin, my biggest takeaway from Malik Monk is I didn't know that this guy was this good of a distributor. We've seen him running the point a lot lately. How are you feeling about Malik Monk? He's had a couple down games, which is funny because like last week I was all in on betting for him for 6th man of the year. It's kind of cooled off a little bit. The odds are probably better now.
There's a long way to go.
But I mean, he's bouncing back here. When he plays really, really well, this Kings team plays really, really well. So give me your thoughts on Malik Monk. Where are you at with him right now?
I mean, he's a really important part of this team being good, right? We say it all the time. I've seen it in the chat tonight. This was a total team win, right? They have to play well across the board if they're going to win consistently. They're not the type of team that can survive on 40 from Fox and 30 from Domantas Sabonis every night to win games. That's just not who they are. So they need contributions from their role players, and Malik Monk has been kind of the bright shining star of the bench so far this year. He ran into, just like the rest of them did, a bit of a cool stretch on this road trip. I thought he was forcing a bunch of shots in a few of these earlier games on the road trip as well. It helps when you're able to get a couple open looks early and they go down. It really changes your mentality and your approach to the game. But I felt like he just didn't force as much tonight. Probably didn't have to either, because a lot of other players were playing well offensively too. And then to your point, distributing, yeah, he has, I think, surprised people in that area. He still gets a little careless with the ball sometimes, but he's also being asked to do a lot of that again, because Davion Mitchell is not a true or classic point guard coming off of the bench either. He's not a distributor or a facilitator. So they need Monk to play sort of more of that role. And they ask him to do a lot because they ask him to score a ton too. So he's incredibly important to the success of the team overall.
Yeah, and he does a great job. I see him as a J.R. Smith type guy, and I don't say that in a negative way. A lot of people, when you hear J.R. Smith now, they all think about that moment in the finals where he messed up and didn't call the timeout with LeBron James. But I'm thinking about a guy that can jump out of the gym, he can shoot, lights out, and can be a great role player on a really, really good basketball team. I really think that Malik Monk has the potential to go for 30 at any night. He really does. He's not going to do that consistently. That's the difference between a great player in an all-star or a superstar. But he does have the potential to get extremely hot, and it gives this Kings team kind of another dimension, which I really, really like. Shout out to Jim here. Jim, are you getting some buffering? I'm sorry. Everything looks right here on our internet, so it could be yours. It could be mine. I'm running on Hawaiian Wi-Fi, so we all know how that goes sometimes.
Call that coconut wireless here.
The coconut
to
wireless
your point
Wi-Fi.
About jumping out of the gym, it didn't happen tonight, but man, that put-back dunk that Malik Monk missed where he grabs it with one hand, that would have been a Dunk of the Year nomination. That was an amazing display of athleticism.
And it's okay, Calvin, because we can expect to see a couple more of those this year too, so I'm not even worried. But yeah, Jim, hopefully things are working a little bit better. It says that my internet is fine, so I apologize if it's not working correctly. We're definitely going to be getting wired in here in the next couple weeks, so that should help out. Shout out to Lydia here. Lydia, we appreciate you as always. I sure liked Keegan's play before the personal issues. I mean, everybody did. The dude was playing really, really great. I don't know if he's hit a wall. I don't know if it's personal issues. Maybe his body's a little tired. The grind of the schedule, playing against better teams. I'm really high on Keegan Murray, and I think he will be perfectly fine. But yeah, he was going through a little bit of a rough stretch there. That's for sure. Low. Keegan played good on defense. Scotty Barnes is going to be a superstar in 2 years. I totally agree with that. Scotty Barnes is incredible. He really, really is a great player. The Raptors hit gold with him. That is for sure. Jeff the Lefty says, when are the Kings going to shop for a legitimate backup point guard? Ooh, shots fired, Calvin. Is this a knock at Davion Mitchell?
I would think so, yeah.
What are your thoughts on that? Is Davion Mitchell not a legitimate backup point guard?
Well, he's not in the traditional sense of the position, right? I mean, I just mentioned that he's not a true point guard. He's more of a scoring guard. I see him. He's definitely not as good as Damian Lillard, but I see him in the same mold of player, a guy that is really good off the dribble, very athletic. He doesn't have the range, obviously, or the scoring prowess that Damian Lillard does. But what Davion excels at on offense is creating his own shot, creating space from a defender. He's really quick, great step back. If he can improve on those things, again, he's not going to be a true point guard, but he'll definitely solidify a more clear-cut, important role on this team. Davion is one of those diamond in the rough guys on defense, though. You just don't find ball-hawking individual one-on-one defenders with that type of energy and effort that they give all the time. So I still think that he's important to the team. And again, that goes back to the point I made about Monk's playmaking. That's why it should work if everybody plays to their potential, because Monk will do more of the ball handling and the facilitating in the second unit than Davion will. But again, everybody has to play to their potential in order for this Kings team to achieve its best possible outcome.
Yeah, that's a great point. And kind of, that kind of goes to what we were discussing with Ethan during the game. He's probably texting me some more BS right now. But, that kind of goes to what you and I and him were discussing during the game, right? Is like there's different types of point guards, right? There's shoot first point guards. There's pass first point guards. There's defensive minded point guards. The way this team plays and the amount of time that Sabonis handles the basketball really, limits your point guard if they are a guy that needs the ball in their hands, or it gives you different opportunities, right? It gives you opportunities to play a guy like Davion Mitchell that doesn't have to be that traditional point guard that passes the ball all the time, right? He can get his own shot. Sabonis can dish out to other guys. We've seen Metu kind of play a poor man's version of that sometimes too. And then also Malik Monk, this team kind of is like a team facilitator. It's not always on one guy to make everything happen. So honestly, I think Davion Mitchell is a great backup point guard. Yes, it's his second year in the NBA, and yes, he will continue to get better. He's not as good as he should be at this point, or he's capable of. I think he will continue to get better, but I think he's doing a great job in the backup point guard. I think he's also filled in great for De'Aaron Fox in the starting point guard position. We saw that win over Cleveland in Cleveland without De'Aaron Fox, a game that many people thought that we had no chance to win because De'Aaron was out. Davion Mitchell, I thought, put up a great performance in that game as the starting point guard. So I just want to pump the brakes a little bit. People get really high on Keegan Murray. They get high on Davion Mitchell and some of these younger guys when they do play well. And then there's not so patient when they make mistakes or they don't play as well as people expect. So I just want to pump the brakes a little bit on that. I think this team is drafted so well over the past couple years. It's just all about developing, and that takes time. I mean, look at the Golden State Warriors, right? I was really high on James Wiseman. A lot of people were high on James Wiseman. This team has done a shit job at developing James Wiseman. They really have. They've been trying to balance this like, okay, we're going to win a championship, be a really good team, but we also have all these young players. Not even just James Wiseman. We got Kuminga, we got Moody, we got all these guys that we're trying to bring along at the same time and kind of get them to carry the torch and create this transition. The Kings are kind of in that same position with Mitchell and Murray. They're trying to win basketball games while developing young talent. So it's not always as easy as it looks. Calvin, you look like you're about to explode. So what do you got to say?
Well, I was just going to say it's a very different situation with James Wiseman. He's missed a lot of time due to injuries. So to say that the team hasn't done a good job of developing him, I don't know how clear-cut a statement you can make like that. But I totally agree with what you're saying, that it does take time. And for some guys, it takes a lot longer than others to develop them into not just a great player, but a good fit for that particular team, right? Davion, that's the difference here. Davion is already a good fit for the team because of what he does well. You would definitely like to see him, when Fox is not playing, be able to be more effective offensively. But at the same time, you have to take into account how this team is built. They're not getting production from Kevin Huerter shooting threes. They weren't getting much production from Keegan Murray for a while. Malik Monk was in a shooting slump. So if you add all of that together, well, of course you're going to expect more of Davion Mitchell, but he's not really in that position to give that yet. So there's a catch-22, I think, when it comes to determining whether or not a guy is going to pan out to what you think, or if he can already help you win games right now, you just would like parts of the rest of his game to come along. Davion has an intangible to help this team that you can coach, but at the same time, it is really hard to coach because defense requires so much willingness and desire and effort. And he gives you that every single time, not to mention his physical skills with, lateral quickness, being able to stay in front of guys. So it's a very different situation between him and James Wiseman.
Yeah, I see that. What's up, Brian? Good to see you here. Ryder, I think I said hi to you already. Said Davion has a ton of great skills. He just can't score efficiently most nights, especially lately. I think that's something that's going to come with time. It's not a perfect comparison, but every time I bring up Davion Mitchell, I always talk about Marcus Smart. I always look at like how inefficient he was as an offensive player the first couple years in the league. The dude really changed it around. I think Davion can do the same thing. I'm really big on guys that are defensive oriented, because I think that you can always learn the offensive part of the game afterwards. I think defensive is more natural. It's more reflexes. It's more timing, stuff like that. That's really, really a lot harder to teach. Yes, you can make guys better at it, but these guys like Davion Mitchell that are just natural defenders, I think are really, really great once the offensive game can catch up to them towards the end. So I'm definitely looking towards that, but it could be a little while. So we gotta pump the brakes.
If you go back to his career, again, high school and college doesn't always translate the same way that it does in the pros, but his numbers offensively improved dramatically from year to year, every year that he was playing basketball. So we all know and talk so much about his work ethic, how much time he spends in the gym. There's definitely reason to think that he's going to turn into maybe not an all-star level player, but a really, really solid player in this league for a long time on both sides of the ball.
Yeah, and the fact that he just has the work ethic, right? Like you said, he just is going to continue to try and get better and keep working. It is definitely really, really important. Progressive G, good to see you. Pistons looking to trade Nerlens Noel. This is actually something I want to correct, because on last show, I thought I read an article saying that the Pistons were in the process of releasing Nerlens Noel. So I thought that he would have been available for anybody to sign, but I don't think that happened. They still are holding out, hoping for a trade. And then I saw this article by Yahoo Sports, Nerlens Noel trade talks materializing between the Kings and the Pistons. Whatever the hell that means. I mean, right, like materializing, maybe that works, maybe it doesn't, we don't really know, but I'm definitely on the Nerlens Noel bandwagon. If we can pick him up for anything, on the lower end of the spectrum, right? I'm not trying to give up a lot to get a guy like that, but if we can pick him up, I think he'd be a great addition to this Kings team. And hey, Calvin, we're heading to Detroit tomorrow, and we play them on Friday. So maybe Monty's going to be going out to lunch tomorrow. Maybe he's trying to wine and dine and make a little deal work. I would definitely be open to that. I like Nerlens Noel a lot, so I would definitely welcome him in. Jesus says, I'm really high on Sabonis right now. Yeah, me too. I am also high on Sabonis. I like Sabonis a lot, especially after another 2020 game. That's for sure. PK House says Noel has 4 teams interested, but nothing has came up yet that I know of. Lydia wants to see Delly play more because he was stellar the other night. I mean, Lydia, I like Delly a lot too, but I think a lot of guys in that position, they're a little bit older. They can only give so much, and they can only do it in spurts. They aren't guys that can play and do that every night or every other night. So I wouldn't expect that out of him, but I like it when he can do it. Calvin, any thoughts on whether you would give Delly more minutes?
It would have to be a very situational thing for me. I just can't justify, for as good of a player as somebody his age in this stage of his career is, for the types of teams that he's been on, that's the best value I think that he brings to this team. It doesn't come in more minutes played. I don't think the production stays the same when you play against the first stringers for longer, or even the second stringers for longer. And also, the 2 guys that are above him on the depth chart, Davion's a better defender right now, and Fox is a better offensive player. So I can't justify taking minutes away from those guys to give more minutes to Delly, because even though he's a solid player, he's not as good as the other 2 guys above him right now today.
Lee says Scotty Barnes would be a great addition. Yeah, I'm sure he
sure
would.
as hell would.
He would be a great addition. You know, Zion would be a great addition. LeBron James would be a great addition. That's for sure. Progressive G wants to see what a Nerlens trade could potentially look like. Calvin, I fired up the trade machine, which I know is your favorite.
Love me some trade machine.
This is what works salary-wise. Nerlens for Rashawn Holmes. What do you think about this deal?
You know, I've thought about this a lot today. I even compared Rashawn Holmes and Nerlens' statistics, and they're actually a lot closer than I thought they were going to be. Yes, of course, Nerlens is known as the rim protector, and his blocks per game and even his steals per game are, as you would expect, higher than Rashawn Holmes. But Rashawn Holmes has been a better scorer than Nerlens in his career. Rashawn Holmes is pretty much an equal rebounder statistically. He's a much better free throw shooter than Nerlens Noel is, which is, as we know, a problem that the Kings have. So, you know, I'm not so sure on this trade. And the biggest reason, I'm not saying that the Kings, it would hurt them or wouldn't help them to get a rim protector and a rebounder. But Rashawn Holmes' numbers are not that far off to what Nerlens is, at least recently, the last few years. And he doesn't play on this team. So why it just doesn't make a whole. I'm trying to think of how just because Nerlens Noel has the potential to block 1.5 shots a game, that means he's going to all of a sudden play more on this team because he still has to fit into the system offensively. So I'm mixed on this deal. Not necessarily because it's Nerlens Noel, but it's like if Rashawn Holmes doesn't play on this team right now, and he could help with rebounding, not as much rim protection, but he still is a career 1 block per game guy, then why would Nerlens Noel all of a sudden play a bunch of minutes? I don't get it.
Yeah. Shout out to Mickey Icky Sticky here, my second favorite name here in the chat. Good to see you. Light the beam, baby. Also, shout out to the Philippines in Paralux Surveying and Realty. Calvin, what do you think about this deal? This would be another option that would work salary cap wise. Honestly, I think I'd probably want more from the Pistons than just Nerlens for Rashawn, maybe a 2nd round pick or something like that. But this deal, what do you think about this? Alex Len, Trey Lyles, and Chemezi Metu. It's a lot of guys. Some
for
guys
Nerlens
that actually,
Noel?
Yeah, these are actually some guys that get some minutes. This is a lot.
That's a lot to give up for
lot.
Nerlens Noel.
Yeah,
a lot to give up.
I think I'm probably more interested in the Rashawn Holmes deal just because he doesn't play that much, right? I like what I've seen out of Trey Lyles.
I agree.
I like what I've seen out of Metu. So I'm probably not going to do this deal. I'm probably sticking more towards like a straight up or maybe Nerlens Noel and a 2nd round pick, for Rashawn Holmes. I think that could benefit both teams potentially. We will see. What's up, Alex? Good to see you from the Hair and Beard podcast. Sup, bros? Deli shouldn't be playing any minutes unless it's a blowout. LOL. I respect him, but no. F no. LOL. Also, I'm glad Holmes got some run. I'm down for Noel, but I still want Bamba or even Kuzma. I think we're kind of all on that same bandwagon there. It's just what does it cost, right? What does it cost is kind of what it comes down to. A lot of people are looking at the Pistons. They have not been playing well. Cade Cunningham's now officially out for the season. Marvin Bagley's injured as always. So what happens to a guy like Nerlens Noel? Do the Pistons just full on tank and try and get Victor Wembanyama this year? Do they try and add some other pieces so that maybe they can come back and play next year? I'm not really quite sure. One thing I do know is they're losing to the Sacramento Kings on Friday, Calvin, and the Kings are going to end this road trip at 3-3, which I think we can all agree is definitely a win for the Sacramento Kings. Am I right or am I right?
Oh, absolutely.
All right, next up, let's talk about, I want to say the man of the night, but that would probably be Sabonis. Another 20-20 game for Sabonis with 7 assists. That's huge, man. Can you imagine a 20-20-10 game? That would be absolutely huge with 70% shooting or almost 70% from the field. That's huge. But no, I want to talk about De'Aaron Fox, the second best player on this team, according to a lot of people. But De'Aaron Fox is his 2nd game back from returning from the foot injury. I wasn't sure if he was going to even play tonight on this back-to-back. Maybe this would be a moment for him to rest, but he ends up playing. He plays 41 minutes tonight, 27 points, 6 rebounds, 10 assists, and some blood, Calvin. I love what I saw to De'Aaron Fox tonight. He had that attitude. He had the drive. He looked like he was not giving up, and he wanted the Kings to win this game. Dude, when he's got that look on his face, that little mean mug, I absolutely love it because I know we're going to be in a great position to win the basketball game. What did you like out of De'Aaron Fox tonight?
I liked that he got back to the old De'Aaron Fox. The quickness was there, the explosiveness to the rim was there, and then the added stuff, right? The things that he's added to his game over the years. The three-point shot was there tonight. The clutch was there tonight. The mid-range, as we've come to love with De'Aaron Fox, was there. You have to be psyched because this is exactly the type of guy that they were missing, for these last few games that they dropped to some really, really tough teams. If he was playing at all or playing at this level in some of those games, it could have been a very different outcome. Not saying that they would have won every game, but it would have been a very different game overall and maybe not a couple of blowouts in a row. This is the guy that they need, to pair with Sabonis, who has been a superstar so far this season. As we said before, that's what is going to make this team the best that it can possibly be. I think the things that you have to not be happy about are, and this is more of a team aspect than just De'Aaron Fox, but the turnovers again, and then defense. They have to find a way to be able to close out more possessions. You're happy that they got this win, but if you think about it, this could have very easily, they missed a few free throws down the stretch. That Mike Brown technical, we talked about it being this galvanizing thing for the team, but at the same time, that technical gave up 4 points because VanVleet hit 4 straight free throws for the 2 tees and the foul. And this was a 1-point game. So that could have very, very well changed the outcome of this game. Those are the things that you're going to be looking at to clean up moving forward. But the fact that you're seeing Fox get back to the level of play that we saw earlier on in the year, at least offensively, especially if he's going to be hitting from outside like that changes him completely from a standpoint of how you guard him.
Yeah, 100%, Calvin, 100%. When I see De'Aaron Fox like this, it just makes me happy because I know we got a much better shot at winning these games. He looks different, right? Everyone's been saying the last month, the dude looks different. Well, I'm going to say he looks different again because he looks back like De'Aaron Fox had played early on in this season. It was absolutely killing it. I think he's going to get more and more comfortable. He's going to get back into the flow, and we're going to start winning some more basketball games because, honestly, De'Aaron Fox is a good player, man. I think he's still going to make the All-Star team this year, and I think that this is his year to kind of turn it around and show everybody that he is a good player. And turn the Kings around as well. So I think that's definitely really, really important. Sass here says Holmes looked good tonight. Sass, I don't know if you're fucking with me or if you're being serious. 3 minutes for Rashawn Holmes, 2 points, 2 personal fouls, no rebounds, no assists, 1 and 2 from the field. So I wouldn't say that that's an impressive game by Rashawn Holmes. But hey, to each his own. To each his own. Ryder says, I'd like for the Kings to stick with who that they have at the moment and focus on team chemistry. Remember when they traded Iman Shumpert and rocked the boat too much? I do remember that all too well. And I'm kind of agreeing with you. I do not want to trade any big name guys that get big minutes. Honestly, that's why I'm still on the kind of maybe trade Rashawn Holmes bandwagon because he doesn't play much. Played 3 minutes tonight, 2 personal fouls. I think we could get that out of Nerlens Noel. I really, really do. So, I'm with you. I don't think they should trade Sabonis, Barnes, Murray, Fox, Davis, Herter, Mitchell, Monk, Metu. I like all those guys. I'm holding on to all those. But at the same time, I think that, one thing that we talked about when this road trip started, Calvin, is that this was going to give us a better look at what this team really, really is. Yes, we're still 3 games above 500, but there's a couple games we got exposed during this road trip. There's a couple games that we did not look good. And yes, those were against really, really good basketball teams. But hey, we're in the NBA. If we want to be a good team in the NBA, you got to beat good basketball teams. So, I don't want to mess up the chemistry on this team, but I'm shifting towards the boat of we need a little bit more. Whether it's signing somebody, whether it's making a small little trade, maybe just a small tweak like trading for Nerlens Noel, I'm on board because this team has a lot of potential. I like what I've seen, but I've also seen some things being exposed here over the past couple games. I think it's time to make a couple adjustments here. Tomorrow is officially December 15th, so a lot of players will become trade eligible tomorrow, and I would expect something to potentially happen, maybe with the Kings, maybe not, but just something in the NBA within the next week. I expect some trades to at least start to go down here.
Yeah, I would too. And I'm not in the boat of don't make any trades whatsoever. I think that it's really important to remember that Monte McNair has done a phenomenal job since taking the GM position of this team. So I trust him to make the right decision. That's the most important part. It is obvious that the Kings are exposed in certain areas. They're not ready to compete for an NBA championship. We are all in agreement on that. They do need to add some more pieces in order to get to that level. However, I think you have to be careful about the type of move you make. I'm not making a move unless I'm sure that it is going to benefit the team, immensely. I'm talking about a player that is a big name player, or doesn't necessarily have to be a big name player, but an important starting caliber player who's going to fit into the system. And that means both offensively and defensively. That's why I'm not so high on DeMar DeRozan, for example. But yeah, I am high on other guys like OG Anunoby or Pascal Siakam. So, and when it comes to those types of deals, all of us would say, yeah, we would love to trade for Pascal Siakam. But it's a question of, can Monte McNair make that happen, and is it going to be worth it to do that deal right now? And that's where I'm just letting him take the wheel completely. I have full trust, full confidence in him.
Yeah.
And I think he's going to be smart about it too, because you are playing with house money a little bit if you're the Kings. You're sort of exceeding expectations so far for the season. If you were able to make the playoffs without having to play in the play-in tournament, I think that's definitely exceeding expectations. You have a young team that's coming together under Mike Brown. It would be nice to keep a lot of those players together for a little while, assuming they continue to get better under him. And then you have free agency where you have a lot of money to spend. So all of those things taken into account, Monte McNair's going to make, I think, the right decision and push the right buttons, because his track record says that he will. Yeah. That was perfectly said, Calvin. Perfectly said. I'd love to have Siakam. I'd love to trade for Anthony Davis or Zion or Giannis or any of these guys, right? But we're not in that position. We don't really know what's going on, but the trust is in Monty, and honestly, that's where it should be. I think he's got pretty much a proven track record now here with the Kings. He's nailed it on draft picks. I think he's made great trades. He hasn't made any bad off-season signings or anything like that. This team is in great position. I'll probably show the salary cap situation here a little bit later, but we're in a great position going into this off-season. We got $20+ million in cap. We're probably going to re-sign Harrison Barnes for less. So we're definitely in a good position. And I think you're right, Calvin. We got to trust Monty because he's really the one that's got us here. And Calvin, I got to give a shout out to Monty. My favorite quote that I've seen from him this week, he said he's not worried about contract negotiation extensions for himself right now. All he cares about right now is winning. And that exactly, right there, that'll take care of the contract extension.
That is perfect. Yes. That's exactly what I want to hear.
Yeah.
Progressive G
and
says,
that's why we can nitpick about these trades, Rashawn Holmes for Nerlens Noel. And it's like, yes, Nerlens Noel does have some traits that you think would help this team, but how much is it really going to help? Is he going to play, 25 minutes a game on this team? I'm not so sure if he does. If he does play that much, how much of a difference does he really make? It's those moves I don't think, necessarily make or break the team in terms of a playoff run. I don't think it changes them that much. The Kings are looking for the drastic improvement move right now, which of course Monty is out there doing, but it's a question of can you get it done and at what cost?
Shout out to Afghan. Good to see you here. Calvin, Progressive G wants to know, will we have two All-Stars this year?
I'm gonna say it all depends on how many wins the Kings have by the All-Star break. If they're in the 6th or better position in the Western Conference, I think it's very likely they'll have 2 All-Stars, because not only will they be recognized as a good winning team in the Western Conference, but Fox and Sabonis, their numbers are going to have to be at a pretty high level in order for them to win that many games. So if they continue the winning trend, and neither one of these guys gets hurt and has to miss some time, there's, I think, a pretty good chance that they could get 2.
I mean, dude,
and a almost surefire 100% chance that they get 1.
Yeah, I mean, like, I thought this was going to be De'Aaron Fox. He was going to be the one leading the All-Star team and getting there and all that. But, dude, Sabonis is having an incredible season. 17 points per game, 11 rebounds, which is 5th in the NBA, 6 assists, which is 15th in the NBA, and he's shooting 61% from the field. A lot of tough power forwards that he faces here in the Western Conference, but I think that he definitely deserves to be on the All-Star team, or at least be in consideration. That is for sure. Lydia, where are you, Lydia? Oh, you retracted your message, Lydia. Calvin, Lydia wants to know if we need some more athletic people on this team. Athletic players. I don't know her perfect way of putting it, but she wanted to know if we basically needed some more athletic wing players, maybe, I guess, on this team.
I wouldn't necessarily say so right now. They've got a bunch of pretty good athletes already on this team from top to bottom. I mean, even if you add in guys like Chimezie Metu, who's a great athlete for somebody his size, that's a hard question to answer, because does it hurt you to go out and get more athletic players? Probably not, assuming that they, can contribute to the game and play in your system. Why would that hurt? So no, but I think they already have a pretty decent number on this team.
Yeah. I don't know if athletic is what you need. I mean, we need rim protectors. And honestly, dude, I can't really think of many other needs that this team has, right? We picked up the 3-point shooters that we need. We've been much improved in offensive rebounds and in rebounding overall, perimeter defense. Like, this team just needs time to gel. They need time to grow together. And honestly, we just need guys like Keegan Murray to get comfortable in the NBA. We need, Davion Mitchell to level up, so like, this team is so young. We're just waiting on these players to get better and better. And that's better than any offseason acquisition that you could have. Any trade that you could have is having young players that continue to get better every single year. You look at a lot of the top teams in the NBA, they've drafted a lot of young players and they've just kept them together, and the chemistry is slowly built and they've got better and better every single year. We look at the Boston Celtics. They're at the top of the Eastern Conference standings, and last year they were the best defensive team in the NBA. Now they're the best offensive team in the NBA. We've talked about what the difference is, and it basically comes down to you drafted exceptionally well and you just develop these young players and let them kind of flourish and do their thing. Curate the system around them so that you highlight the things they do well and you hide the things that they do bad. And I think the Kings are on that path. Of course, they're not the Boston Celtics, but they've drafted well. I like the systems that they're creating. I like the coaching staff and the players that they brought in. They just need time. Honestly, they just need time. Rome was not built in a day. The Kings are not going from 16 years of not making the playoffs to Western Conference Finals or NBA Finals in 1 year. And yes, I saw the memes a week and a half ago about, the Kings could go. They could make it to the Western Conference Finals. Dude, come on, quit with the BS. We would all love it, but it ain't gonna happen. Don't get your hopes up. One step at a time, man. One step at a time. All right.
Callum, they're 15-12 currently with the win today.
15-12. I'll even show you the standings here, Callum. You can take a look. They are the 6th seed, just above the LA Clippers. We are out of the play-in currently, and 1 seed away from Calvin shaving his head. So that's always good news there. Calvin, the one starter we have not talked about yet, and we'll just kind of wrap up on him, and then we'll talk about the next game. But it's Harrison Barnes. 12 points for him tonight, 8 rebounds, 3 assists. I've been all over the place with Harrison Barnes this year. It's been an emotional roller coaster. Some moments I love him, some moments I hate him. Whether he's going to grow out the beard or not like he tried to do in 2020, I would love to see that. Maybe that would help this team's chemistry. Maybe it'd help me like him a little bit more. I'm in the boat that this team holds on to him. He re-signs with less and returns to be on a winning team because he likes to be in Sacramento. Obviously, he does a lot for the community, and I think he's a great player, a great leader, a great person. But, there's been times on the court where he's been really frustrating to me. What are you feeling about Harrison Barnes? What did you like? What did you dislike from him in the game tonight? And just what's your overall state on HB?
My overall state is still really great. I think that for a guy that's in the last year of his contract, one of the older veterans on a young team, again, it's a balanced attack, right? In its perfect or ideal form. So if I can get 12 points and 8 rebounds out of Harrison Barnes every night, I feel pretty confident, as long as the rest of the team does what they're expected to do, that we're going to be in a position to win ball games. I think that, again, this was a tough matchup for the wings on this team, Barnes and Murray, going against Siakam and Scotty Barnes. That's not an easy matchup for anybody. So he's going to be a little shaky, sometimes on defense. I would say that the one thing that I wouldn't say unhappy with, but things that I would look to do differently for him in the future is half of his field goal attempts were 3-point field goals today. I would much rather him be taking more opportunities to try to get the ball to the rim where he's a really good finisher through contact and, again, can get to the free throw line. He was 4 of 4 at the free throw line tonight. Couple more drives, maybe he gets to the line a couple more times, and he turns that into 6 or 7 made free throws. That's the thing for me with Harrison Barnes. I'd like to see him attacking the rim, even though it's not at the same type of pace or speed that guys like De'Aaron Fox do. He's more of the wily veteran with the crafty inside moves, the deceleration dribble, and being able to finish through contact. But other than that, like I said, 12 points and 8 rebounds, I'll take that every single night from Harrison Barnes.
Yeah. My biggest, I wouldn't say criticism, but like advice from Harrison Barnes is like, just be more aggressive. Just be more aggressive. Whatever that means to you, just be more aggressive. When HB is aggressive, I love it, dude. I love aggressive HB. So the more aggressive he can be, I think the better for the Sacramento Kings. Look over there. Good day, mate. Good to see you. Sean says, light the beam. Yeah, they lit the beam tonight, that's for sure. Matthew, we played again, we win. Yes, we did, Matthew. We played and we won. Feels good. Feels really, really good. Lydia wants to see the Island Boys right now. Lydia, you're looking at them. We're here. You want to see the imposter Island Boys? I mean, I'll show you the imposters.
The Kings won, yeah. Oh, yeah, the Kings won, yeah. The Sacramento Kings, oh, yeah, the Kings won, yeah. Fox is so fast. Sabonis is so strong, yeah. Coach Mike is so smart, yeah. They are the playoff bound, yeah.
Galvin, we're just a couple face tattoos away from being TikTok stars, bro. I think we could do it. If they don't ban TikTok in the U.S., we might have a good shot, dude. We might have a good shot at it. I think so. All right.
Okay, you first.
I'm feeling good about this game, but I think it's time to move on, dude. I can only talk about us beating the Raptors for so long. Like, we won, dude. It feels good. We're moving on. We're tired of the Raptors. We're tired of those nice
You don't want to have
Canadians.
The De'Aaron Fox versus Fred VanVleet debate some more?
No, dude, because I'm going to be debating with Ethan about that all day tomorrow, all night tonight. So I don't need to debate about that anymore. But anyways, Kings win, dude. It feels good. Raptors suck. Let's move on. Let's talk about the Sacramento Kings schedule. So looking in here, yeah, dude, just looking at the start of this season, it's like, man, if we could have done anything different in these first 4 games, could have pulled out that win against the Clippers, maybe that first opening night against Portland where we were there, things might even be more incredible than they are already. Not that they're bad, they are pretty good. But we had a 3-game losing streak here, went on a 3-game winning streak, and then we just ended this 2-game losing streak today with this win over Toronto on a tough 6-game road trip. Next up is Toronto. Like I said, this is our last game on this Eastern
Detroit.
Conference
Next up
road
is
trip.
Detroit.
Or sorry, did I say Toronto? We beat Toronto against
Yeah.
Detroit, and that's on Friday.
We're
Thank
over
you, Calvin.
Toronto.
And then on Monday, we return home for, what is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, a 6-game trip at home against Charlotte, the Lakers, Washington, 2 games against Denver, and Utah. Calvin, I'm seeing a lot of winnable games there. I really am.
Not just 6-game homestand. I think they play something like 15 of their next 19 games at Golden One Center.
Wow.
So
Wow.
big time opportunity for the
see that.
Kings to kind
I
of
see that.
separate themselves from the play-in tournament again.
And this is like, dude, we talked about all these tough games we played, but dude, my mouth is watering right now seeing Charlotte. We got the Lakers. We got Washington. We got Utah twice in that. Then we play the Lakers again. We're playing Orlando. 2 games against Houston. Like, dude, there's a lot of winnable games coming up. A lot of winnable games. But hey, let's not get ahead of ourselves. Let's talk about Friday's game. It's in Detroit. Like I said, it's the final game of this road trip. Definitely not something that you can kind of like ease up on and take your foot off the gas saying, okay, it's Detroit. It's the last game. Can't wait to get home. Dude, they got to be ready for this game. This is still a professional basketball team. Yes, they're 8-22, and they're looking like the laughing stock of the Eastern Conference. They got Marvin Bagley's dad sitting on the bench. This is a horrible team, but Calvin, we got to play. We got to play well against them. It is a basketball game, and like they say, there is a reason they play the game. Alex Len is still listed as out. Kevin Huerter is listed as day-to-day, and then I mentioned Cade Cunningham is out. Isaiah Livers is out, and Marvin Bagley, no surprise here, is listed as day-to-day. Obviously, as Callum says here, everyone's going to be looking at Jaden Ivey. All the Kings fans are going to be looking at Jaden Ivey in this game saying, should we have drafted him? Oh, this guy, that guy, we should have had him. Calvin, what are you looking for in this Detroit game? And then we'll talk about keys.
Well, yeah, I mean, Jaden Ivey, people are going to have their eyes on him. I think there are probably some Kings fans out there who still would have wanted him over Keegan Murray. But to me, you couldn't have asked for a better situation for the Kings, other than, of course, going 6-0 on this road trip, but that's not very realistic. To say that you've got a chance to beat a team on the end of the road trip, to give yourselves the good feeling of going 500 on a really tough 6-game trip before you get back home. And this game is, again, you don't want to, like you said, look past the Pistons or expect it to be an easy game. But after you've just run through the gauntlet of really top defensive teams, they played 5 of the top 11 defenses in the NBA on this trip in 5 games. And now you're going to play a team that's like 28th or 29th in the NBA in defensive rating. So really golden opportunity for the Kings to close out the road trip on a positive note. And then, you've got to make sure that you keep it turned up. And I'm looking for them to kind of get their defense a little bit right here too. Not an easy matchup in terms of individual players. The Pistons still have guys that can put the ball in the basket. But it should be a more manageable game for Sacramento, at least than what they've had to deal with in the 5 previous games.
Yeah. Like I said, no walk in the park, but definitely things should lessen up a little bit against a lot of these Eastern Conference contenders. Alex has got a strike against him, Calvin. He's talking positive about the Lakers here in the chat, so make sure you note that, Bouncer. 1 strike against Alex here in the chat. We don't accept any good talk about the Lakers here in this chat. That is just unacceptable, Alex. Go ahead and punish yourself, and you know what to do. Progressive G, do you guys watch the World Cup or nah? Unfortunately, I haven't watched any World Cup this year. I am a big soccer fan. I played a ton of soccer as a kid, and normally I do watch the World Cup, but I've just been so busy between work and watching basketball that I haven't had much time to watch the World Cup, which is unfortunate, but it's okay, dude. We move on. It's
been an entertaining World Cup. I have watched a fair amount of it. I got to admit, I watched way more non-USA games than I did USA games, but there's just a lot of other really great players out there.
We the North, Northern California. Northern California. Lydia says we need a good jingle. Well, Calvin's a rapper, dude. Calvin, or he's a ghost writer, right? Are you a ghost writer? You could write us a jingle, Calvin.
I could work on something.
Yeah, that'd be great, dude. Yeah, you got to say yeah a lot, right? Like every line. Yeah, Sabonis is so strong. Yeah. Yeah, I'd like that. All right. Give me your keys to the game, dude. We got to Calvin exposed. We got to wrap this show up because, my beer is getting pretty empty here. And hey, I want to drink another one. So, Calvin, let's jump here into keys to the game for Pistons Kings.
Well, I think you just kind of have to build off of what you did in this game offensively, right? Like when you look at keys to the game, Detroit is in the bottom 2 in the league in defensive rating. So this has to be a game where you can kind of break out offensively, building off of what you did today. The 3-point shooting's got to be there. I'm looking for Fox to have a really big game again. Sabonis is going to have to deal with some big dudes inside, and Jalen Duren and Isaiah Stewart, 2 kind of bruising players. So, but we know that Sabonis likes to play in those situations. What I'm really looking for is defensively. How well can you rotate, cover the 3-point line? You want to take Saddiq Bey away here in this game because outside of that, and Bojan Bogdanovic, who's had a really good year for Detroit, they're much, try to pound the ball inside type team. Jaden Ivey is a slashing player. And that's given the Kings problems. So how well can they shore up that perimeter defense, not just cutting off the initial drive, but rotating to cover the 3-point shooters when you do send that help to cut off the drive. And then taking care of the basketball, man. Like that's a huge thing for the Kings is turnovers. They've had more than 15 or more turnovers in a lot of these games on the road trip. You'd like to see that number get down to 13 to 12 because that would put you in the top 5 in the NBA. So turnovers, rebounding, and defensive rotations, I think, are going to be my key because I feel pretty comfortable that the Kings will put up a bunch of points in this game.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, dude, I'll give you. I got a bunch of keys for this game. We could say, get more than 21 or 22 assists, right? More than 13 threes in this game. Like you said, lower the turnovers. But honestly, for me, Calvin, this is a heavyweight against a lightweight bout, and I need to see the Kings control this game. They need to control the tempo. They just need to overall control the entire part of, they just need to control this entire game, dude. Honestly, I think the Kings should win this game. It should be an easy win, even though there's no easy wins in the NBA. But I'm just saying, I want to see a total domination by this Kings team over the Detroit Pistons. They played so many good teams over the last 2 weeks. This is a time to kind of enjoy yourself, to light things up a little bit and really show the world how much better you've gotten over the past couple weeks. So I really want to see the Kings dominate and control this game. I'm thinking the Kings win by 15 plus. I'm just going to say that right here. I think the Kings will absolutely dominate this game. And yeah, like what Neil says, don't play down to the competition. Definitely. Shout out to Sam Lopez here in the chat. Dude, Sam, you're living in the past, bro. You're living in the past. We should have drafted Clay. We should have drafted Luka. Dude, why are you in the past, Sam? Sam, you don't got to be in the past, man. We're winning games. We're looking good. Things are looking up. We're better than the Warriors right now. Who drafted Klay Thompson? I hope you don't live your whole life just looking back on what you should have done, what other people should have done. That's not the way to live your life, man. You got to think about what happened and what you can do in the future to improve your life, improve your team, get better. Don't live in the past, Sam. Enjoy the future, man. We're a good basketball team, and it's feeling good. Honestly, I've been there before, and I don't mean to talk down on you. I'm not trying to talk down on you at all. I'm just saying, I've been there. 16 years of losing. I've looked at every single draft, every single mock draft, and I've gone through it all oh, hey, well, the Kings could have drafted this guy at this position. They could have drafted this guy at this. Don't live in the past, man. Don't live in the past. Light the effing beam. Sam, I love you. Thank you for joining in. Smash up that like button. Smash it up. Smash it up.
Man, all right, guys. You can officially buy Barry's Great Keys to a Solid Life or Life Success DVD for 3 easy payments of $5.95. I don't know. I just
For the
made
first
all that
edition.
stuff up.
First edition, dude. There's gonna be like 20 plus editions, dude. I'll be putting out a
20
new
plus
edition
editions.
after every single Kings win, dude. The Beam edition, I got them all. Anyways,
Yeah, I'm gonna start calling you Freedom.
all right, Calvin. I think that pretty much wraps it up, dude. I think it wraps it up for us. I just want to kind of end this looking at the standings, guys. Just take a look, take a screenshot. Just look at this beautiful standings here. The Sacramento Kings are 6th in the Western Conference. I know you want them to be better. I want them to be better. I think they will be better. We need them in the top 5 so we can shave Calvin's head. That's going to feel good, man. It's going to feel really, really good, Calvin. You're going to be more aerodynamic.
Derek, I
You're
love
going to be
that,
saving
man.
money on shampoo. Dude, this is going to be great, Calvin. This is going to be absolutely great. Shout out to Tyler here. Oh, yeah, Progressive. I'm drinking a Coors, but it's empty, and that's why the show is officially over. Calvin, any last words for all our Kings fans out there? And before you do that, real quick, just want to remind you all, we will be live on Friday. So we will see you guys all on Friday about 6 p.m. Hawaii Standard Time, 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. But Calvin, the floor is yours.
Well, thank you very much, Barry. I'm not going to, try to give any life advice. I think you've done enough of that for the fan base here. So thank you guys for watching. Go Kings. The beam is lit. I think that's all we need to say. Go Sacs.
Go Sacs. I love it. Anyways, I just need a favor. Right before we end the show, I need a favor from all you guys. I'm going to end this video right now. And then I would love it if you could go to the video. You don't got to rewatch it. I mean, if you want to, I would appreciate it if you rewatch. You don't got to rewatch the whole thing. But just put a comment. Not in the chat. I'm talking about on the video. Put a comment down below. Tell me your favorite part of this stream. Because really, we do this for you. We hope you guys all have fun. Like, you're the whole reason we're here. And so we're trying to double down on the things that you like and get rid of things you don't like. So, just write down in the comments section down below what your favorite part of this video is. If you want to be negative, you could write your least favorite part. If you're like, oh, I don't like Calvin, and I get a certain amount of people that vote Calvin. Calvin's off the island, dude. We will kick Calvin off the entire island and we'll move on. But no, thank you guys so much. We appreciate you all so much.
With Ethan, so you guys can talk about how good De'Aaron Fox is all the time.
Please make sure to hit that like button, smash that subscribe button, and we'll see you all on Friday. But in the meantime, go Kings.